and Tessian will kind of like try to point to some things like as you're heading down. Like he'll point out towards the coast, and you can kind of see that there's, I don't know, like I don't know how to describe it, a bit of like a monument almost. Like it's not like a regular like port or harbor where it just kind of goes out to the sea and stuff like that. There definitely appears to be. It's almost like the city runs up to it, and then there's almost like a cliff face, so to speak. So like it looks like the city just goes right up to a cliff, kind of, and then. But there's some sort of monument or structure that's on that side that you probably can't see from the angle that we're at. And he says that that's the Mother's Gate. That's sort of where most of the ships come in to Black Harbor. And then he points to a bunch of buildings. I have no idea. Lena would probably notice it. She's got good enough passive perception. But he's basically like, that's the Xandarian market. That's where we'll head to. He starts trying to do like his best tour guide, and like, well, you can kind of notice that that's there because if you look closely, you can see some large, they look like pillars, but they're bones actually. The War of the Kraken was a very real thing, and some of the bones of the Kraken are still there. They just built around them. So it's hard to notice when you're in the market, but like from up here, you can see them if you know what you're looking for, basically.
Cool. Okay. Yeah.
Other than that, it's a big old kind of sprawling city, kind of twisty, and the streets aren't exactly straight. It's not like a nice grid. There appears to be maybe one big, long, noticeable thoroughfare kind of runs along the coast at one spot. Other than that, a lot of little twisted alleys and buildings and all kinds of stuff. The larger buildings, smaller buildings, yeah.
And the Mother's Gate is actually something that you recognize, Karash. In your time at sea, those couple of years you spent, you only came here a couple of times and were strongly advised by Captain Ravana not to wander off in the city while you were dropping off supplies and picking up new ones. But you have been to at least like the exterior point of this city on a couple of occasions during those couple of years you spent at sea. So that at least looks kind of familiar. I mean, it's not like, whoa, yeah, I love this place. I've been here all the time, but you have been here and basically just only in the port area of the city on a couple of occasions.
Isaac, what is wrong with this city that you do not like it?
I mean, the city's fine. It's a little drab. But I suppose if you like that sort of thing, it's fine. It's mostly the people that I don't like. And more than that I don't trust.
What do you mean? I have been here before and have been warned not to go into town, but I do not understand.
At this point, it's hard to separate fact from fiction. I've heard tons of stories about the leadership of Black Harbor ruling with an iron fist, not necessarily guided by ethical any sort of compass, morals, that sort of thing. All the way to, they have a torture dungeon beneath the keep that they bring anyone who speaks out against the leadership and gives them a few rounds through the, what do you call the thing with the spikes that you close?
Portcullis.
Iron Maiden.
The Iron Man.
Iron Man.
They're tortured with the point. It also is a gate, so
yes,
it's dual purpose.
Mm-hmm.
That sort of thing. I'm sure most of it is rumor, but I've heard enough of it to not like the place.
Then some of it's based on truth.
There you go.
To be specific, we do have a place run by a group that reveres a figure known as the Iron Maiden. It's something more of a asylum, I guess you could say, a prison, a place for rehabilitation, but being locked away and thrown to the Iron Maiden might be a more creative way of describing that. I assure you that it's nothing of the sort. They very much value helping bring people back from where they are. Death is something of a last resort, but there tends to be a bit of truth to some of the rumors, at least, although it's not nearly as bad as the rumors may lead you to believe.
Whatever you say, Tessian. Tread cautiously, Karash.
I will stay with Tessie.
That's a wise decision.
Probably.
So you guys end your trip on the elevator, fighting hordes of enemies as you go, as is traditional in any beat 'em up.
That is, I don't know how you can have an elevator ride without enemies falling down from
They
above.
have to come from all sides. It's even better when the elevator's open, so you can throw them off, but then you can be thrown off. So it's very difficult. I suppose as you make your way down into the remainder of the city, not including the keep, where would you like to head?
Tessian will pretty much just head straight for the Zendorian market, since that's what Isaac's looking for.
Yeah, I'll head with you guys. I won't I won't stray very far.
So the group then is going to make its way to Patron's Port, which is another name that you recognize, Karash. Karash, I can tell you, obviously, you know, like, Tessian has a much more encyclopedic knowledge of this area, given he was born here and all, but from the times you were here, you know Patron's Port is both handy for ships, whether they are cargo ships or even the occasional less forward-facing ones like smugglers and pirates. There is also a pretty busy fishing district there. Given your background, that was something that kind of stuck out to you when you were told about the place. So you're like, oh, that's interesting. And inside the port is what essentially is this sprawling open market with a series of shops. It's strange because you've been to some other ones that work with these kind of like these big outdoor areas. Waychester even has one, but probably given its location as a port city, this is unlike any other market you've seen. I mean, when I say sprawling, we're talking, you know, like miles of both big and small shops, dedicated buildings, exterior vendors. The other thing that kind of sticks out is that all of this is sort of built in to what appears to be a skeleton. And it looks
Kraken skeleton?
It looks like the remains of a kraken.
Ah, so this is what you were referring to, Tessian.
Yes.
It's suitably macabre of Black Harbor to make a market in the remains of a kraken, but I don't hate it.
Well, to be fair, it wasn't our choice to put the Kraken there. We were sort of invaded. It doesn't matter. All that matters is that, yes, this is the marketplace. I'm not sure what you're looking for, Isaac, but I'm sure we could probably find it.
Well, I have all the pieces that I need for the new gun, the modifications I'm developing, and my armor is fine. I think if there's something of a magical variety, that might be interesting.
Well, yes, I suppose we can look around, see what is here. Hopefully we find it. We'll see.
If this was Hunter x Hunter, I could activate my magic vision and see items that are imbued with more power. But this is not that. So anyways,
This is not Hunter x Hunter. You're right about that.
But
yeah, I'm interested in and so Chris as well, if there's anything any sort of magic items around. I'm sure they're really expensive, but that's what I'm curious about. To steal them.
So
try it. Let's not be thieves in my own city.
canvassing the wide variety of shops, you can at least get through a decent chunk of them, assuming you don't want to spend hours here. But if you're kind of just walking through, looking at particular shops that stick out of interest along the way, there are a few things you find of that nature. One enchanter has Dust of Disappearance for sale.
What is that? Dust of disappearance.
It's
What does
ninja
that do?
dust.
I'm asking the shopkeeper to make clear.
And there's this like small bag that it's in, and she like opens it up with a pull string and like spreads a little bit of this what looks like this fine powder or sand on her hand. And she's very careful as she's touching it because she's trying not to like use it. She says, "Well, this dust of sorts, you can spread it over a number of members of your group, and when you do so, they all become invisible for a short time."
Interesting. And I sneeze. No.
It goes in your nose and you get cancer.
It's an invisible cancer, though. They'll never find it.
You'll never see the tumor.
Interesting. Oh, what else do you have? A dust of disappearing seems interesting.
That's kind of like the standout item of that particular shop.
Oh, okay.
There's a handful of different shops in here that each have like a main item of interest.
Okay. How much are you charging for that, just out of curiosity?
It's 300 gold pieces.
300 gold. Did you find it more lucrative selling items in the shop than robbing people on the highway? I'm kidding. It's a rare item. I understand.
If anything, it's a powerful effect. It should probably cost more, but there is only enough here to use it once.
Okay.
It will cover an area to where it can coat a number of people, but after that it is consumed.
Okay. I'm going to keep looking, but I'll keep you in mind. Maybe I'll be back. Okay. What else do we
Somebody
have?
might want to make a note in case you decide you want to make a purchase of
Yeah.
something or another here.
And as we're walking away, I will just whisper to Isaac, I have a spell where I can do that for free.
That's what I thought, but it's good to find out. What's for sale?
What if you're not there? What if you're out of spells?
What if I'm dead?
What if you can't get the
What
components?
if we have to make your body invisible to carry that away?
Awkward.
What if you have more targets than your spell allows?
So, Chris, I guess in the interest of time, if there is like a quick rundown of the shops that we could reasonably get access to, if there's 100 shops, we're not going to have time for that, but...
Yes. One of them, this is going to seem lame in comparison, but it's fine. One of them has a ring of jumping for sale for 1,400 gold pieces.
Oh,
But
boy.
If you wanted to look awesome with your little parkour jumps, that's the way
is
to
it
do
just
it.
extra leaping power?
Triples your jumping ability,
Hoo-wee!
both like up and across for a minute once per day. So it doesn't do anything like super flashy and spectacular, but it's also not like a terrible effect.
For one minute, you can just like bunny ears and Zelda, like.
And because it's the equivalent of the spell, I mean, being able to do it once per day is kind of nice because it doesn't expend spell slots. Or if you don't have any spell slots, you can use a magical ability.
Gosh, I feel like I don't have close to 1,400 gold.
I don't think we do as a group.
Might be a bit of a reach for your group, but I like to have some availables that are more some items available that are more expensive because you can always come back and see if the item's still there.
I think I have 400.
Still,
So-
what?
I'm way down.
We have, well, according to Tessian, and I know he's been keeping some of our group gold, we have 1,496 gold.
Oh, so yeah.
Yeah.
And I've been keeping some on my own, but so this is where it gets tricky. I have some on my own that I've been keeping, but I probably don't have 400 separate from that. It's probably some amount.
Yeah,
But-
I really wasn't even. We've been just buying things together, like
Yeah.
so. It's not been a big deal.
Several shops you come across have more standard potions of healing and superior healing available for sale for their standard rates. One of them, who seems to have like more potions than most in his item shop, has a potion of vitality available for 800 gold pieces. A potion that removes exhaustion, cures any disease or poison for the person who's drinking it, and for the next day you get the maximum hit points for any hit dice you spend.
Dang.
So cures disease, removes poison, halts exhaustion, and then boosts hit dice for the next day.
Okay.
Obviously a one-time use, but a very rare item. And then the last that you come across in what I'm assuming is just like an hour spent canvassing assuming that's fine. I mean, you can spend all day there and miss the dinner if you want. I don't want to, like...
No, we're not doing that.
Nah.
You don't want to do that?
Well, the dinner, we still have like a couple hours to dinner, yeah?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
you've got time.
Yeah.
I mean, you spent some time in the aviary. It takes some time just to get here.
Yeah, that's
But
true.
at this point, we're like early afternoon. You still got 2-3 more hours at least at your disposal.
Okay.
There's also a cap of water breathing for sale.
Ooh.
It is a cap,
Oh.
and its only downside really is that it has a command word. Now, that's good because it means that you can activate it as such, but if you're already underwater, it can be difficult. So it's not like an emergency, I'm drowning and I need this thing, but if you need to go underwater, you can wear it, attune to it, speak its command word, and it creates like a bubble of like a sphere of air around your head that lets you breathe like normal underwater. And it lasts until you choose to end the effect. So it's not like it only does it for a short span. It basically endures.
Jesse, and can't you do this on your own for us? I thought you can manipulate the water around our heads to where we can still get oxygen.
Well, no. I can push the water away, but it doesn't make oxygen. We just have been taking whatever oxygen with us as we go.
I mean, yeah, so it's not infinite, but it works for a
It
stretch.
works for a stretch, yes.
And that one is 750 gold pieces.
Okay.
So that's the items you get from these shops on this trip. Lord knows future trips could find more or different things, or maybe they'll have sold by the time you return. But those are what is available now. You can always purchase one of them if you wish.
Are you looking for something in particular, Isaac?
No, just seeing what strikes my fancy. Honestly, the ring of jumping was fascinating. I think I could make good use out of that, but don't have the funds. Can't have the party burn all the gold on one ring for just me.
And you can see Tessian seems a little, I don't know, distracted. And he's like, well, look, I didn't want to mention it at first, but there is another place we could go if you were looking for things. It's not the kind of place that we should just wander willy-nilly, but they sell many rare things there, but they don't always charge gold. So you may want to be careful what kind of deals you strike up.
I trust those merchants about as much as these ones, so what do we have to lose?
The lot. But if you are looking for things, and I'm not going to... You're a man who I trust to know his tools. You have done nothing but, well, everything that you've done with us based off the things that you know and the things that you carry with you, whether it's your guns or... My point is, if you think going to such a place might be worth our while, I could show us there. Hopefully. It can be hard to find. But I will warn you, don't just agree to anything without thinking it through.
Well, now we have to go. Lead the way.
Okay, I'll do my best, I suppose. I will warn you, all this might take a little bit. This place tends to be hard to find. But yes. Well, we'll need to find one of the ways lower into the city. No, follow me. Tessian will then go about trying to find one of the ways to get to the Black Bazaar, basically.
Tessian, how does one willy-nilly?
It's a phrase, basically it just means like, how do I put this? Without thinking things through. Sort of crazy, you know. It's a nonsense word. It's sort of like doing things nonsensically. You don't think them through.
That is a thing Isaac might do.
Yes.
What is this character assassination?
How dare you? So, Tessian You have been to the Black Bazaar before.
I have.
It has been a while.
Mm-hmm.
And even having been there before, you, as you described, know that this is sort of a slippery location.
Yes.
Given its unique properties that can be very difficult to track down. I will say...
Yeah, where's that streetwise skill from 4th
I know,
edition?
where the fuck is Streetwise? It's so good for stuff like this.
Yeah. Investigation, is that the equivalent? It wouldn't be history.
Survival sometimes.
There
It's
you
more
go.
tracks and the like, but I generally put in survival here, so I will say make a survival check.
This is not going to go well.
You don't know that.
It could be great.
Yeah.
I have faith in you, Tessian.
Misplaced.
Mistake.
Okay, what a 9.
Woo!
So you lead the group in the direction of the Undercity. And for the rest of you, it looks sort of like... I mean, there are definitely streets and tunnels that head down in this direction as you're making your way there. But along the way, the architecture kind of shifts to be more like ruins of a sort. There's walls and arches and pillars of brick and bone. And as Tessian is sort of trying to lead you, he's like, I think it's this way. And then I'm pretty confident I went down this alley. And you're quickly realizing that this is like this massive network of catacombs and crypts that interweave and cross paths in the earth beneath the city, kind of like the roots of a tree. Tessian, you spend like a half an hour on this, and you're quickly realizing that whatever path you had found successfully before, you are not connecting with.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I hate to admit it, but I may not be able to get us there. We might need to see if we can ask around among some of the more shadier types to see if they know the way.
Oh, this is getting even better. Please lead us to the shady types that you know. I am actually very curious. What sort of friends does Tessian Black keep in Black Harbor?
Totally looking out for the shadiest dude I can find.
I mean, yes, we'll basically look for the nearest person. I don't know. Tessie doesn't exactly know a ton of shady people. Isaac is rightfully calling him out on that. He doesn't. He doesn't have like a whole laundry list of people in the city. But like, I don't know. He's gonna try to go to the nearest place where, I don't know, ne'er-do-wells hang out. Oh.
Back alleys, bars.
Yeah, I mean, this whole place is kind of shady. But I mean, there are good people that live down here, but there are also less on the level people that live down here.
This doesn't seem like a flawed plan at all.
No,
You have
I
a
know.
terrible, terrible city. I don't know who was governing this place, but you're doing an awful job of it.
What's the name of this place called?
Where we are now?
No, I'm sorry. What we're looking for.
Oh, the Black Bazaar.
Oh, well, that makes sense. Very layered. Okay.
It's somewhere in the Undercity down here.
So I'm just gonna find like the nearest.
Well, as you guys are having
Oh.
this conversation and having kind of like doubled back, and eventually Tessian leads you to an intersection you've been to before, and you're like, wait a minute, and you're looking around and discussing this as a group. There is a male halfling who approaches you. Has a set of great swords in sheaths around his waist. Each one has a jewel in the hilt. The hint. Smooth black hair, pretty long, comes past his shoulders. Really squared off jaw.
Is it
Bushy
white hair?
eyebrows.
Is he the tiny witcher?
No.
He looks. Yeah, he's a little sexy little halfling, you know.
He's kind of dressed like a fortune teller, sort of. Like robed, hood up. And as you guys are kind of having this conversation, looking around to see if there's somebody to talk to, he sort of like ambles over to the group. Doesn't look like he's not trying to be sneaky about it per se, but he's also not looking to attract attention to himself. And you see him approach the group, and he kind of looks around, like not at you, just like looking past you. They're on the
Trying
area.
to keep it on the DL.
Mhm.
Can we help you?
Looking for the Black Harbor, are you? Black Harbor. For the Black Bazaar, are you? Everything's named Black in this fucking city. Who did this?
I don't know who did this.
We actually found Black Harbor. If you can believe it.
Oh, well, go about your day then.
Yes, that is disconcerting that you were eavesdropping, but we are indeed looking for the Black Bazaar.
I think you'll find many people in this city are eavesdropping.
Excellent.
Probably should get used to it.
Well, do you have information for us?
I do, but this is not a charity case. What's in it for me?
What would you expect?
I don't know. Anything of interest that you have to offer?
I have a bit of silver
Oh God.
that piques your interest.
I'm going to like shove my hand into my pouch and drop like 20 gold coins into the dude's hand. Just be like, "You are not a good negotiator."
I don't think you'll find silver get you very far down here, boy. You, on the other hand, you're speaking my language. And he looks over at Karash.
Common?
Yes.
I'm gonna hand him the gold. Can you please tell us where we are going?
And he kind of like rifles a couple of the pieces between his fingers, lets one of them like cascade over his fingers like it were a poker chip. Bites down on one of the gold pieces. Seems satisfied with it not being fake. Tosses that into a pouch on his side. Says, "All right, I can take you there. Follow me. Just know that
Thank you.
not exactly a place you should be going unless you have a reason to."
Tessian will not say what the reason is, but he'll just be like, "We have strange business and may require strange implements. So I assure you, we are not just going there to look about."
So he leads you down a very different stretch of alleyways and paths than Tessian was headed down. There does seem to be like a knowing, deliberate method to his movements. And sort of like as he walked over to you, he seems to sort of be like... He's not sidling. This isn't like Mission Impossible, like move up to an end of an alley, appear on the corner, make sure it's safe. But again, maybe it's just the very nature of his gait, but he's sort of like cautious in how he's stepping, and as he's leading you guys about, he's not making eye contact with anybody. He's trying to like keep to himself through this. Along the way, he says, "Name's Radomir Goldfound," which is ironic, so you gave him gold, but that was his fucking name. What do you want? Should warn you that the Black Bazaar has been strange recently, even by its own standards. Whole city's been kind of like that, to be honest. Something strange in the air. Don't know what to make of it, but there's been more reports of petty theft down here. Fighting. Just brawls breaking out. Disputes between individuals. So, you should be careful.
And Tessian does look a little concerned by that. And he's any rumors other than those? Any current events that we should be aware of?
Kind of thinks on it for a second. He says, "Not particularly. We've heard about..." How do I put this? There's been more ships coming into the harbor recently. Not quite sure what that's about. I don't spend a lot of time at the docks. But I hear people talking. I'm good about blending into a room. But primarily, it's just that activity in the city has picked up in the last month or so. No one's quite sure what to make of it. Been keeping the Lyria in order on their toes.
Interesting. I appreciate it. I've been away from the city for some time, and, it's always so hard these days to keep up with current events.
I need everybody to make an Arcana check.
Crack.
Your mothers really seem to let the city rot from the inside.
I suspect whatever's going on may be outside of her control.
Oh, that was an 11.
So I critted.
I got a 20 not natural.
I don't know what it's trying to roll again. Oh, no, stop.
Well,
You smack yourself in the face.
Look, what can I say? Cancel. Okay, there we go. Roll 20, not designed for a phone, let me tell you. I got a 16. Yeah, Lenny got a 20. Isaac got a natural 20.
crit.
As he's kind of carrying on this conversation and leading you through these interweaving paths, there is a point where, for just a moment, something feels off. He rounds one corner into an alleyway, and something just clicks with all of you that, like, you've taken a step, but you've done so much more than that. On a crit, Isaac, I would say you're not super familiar with magic overall. You have it in your lineage. Your father obviously is well versed in it. But at the very least, it feels like in that step, you changed locations in some way. It reminds you somewhat of the feeling of going through a teleportation circle. Not as sudden or violent or direct. And as you look forward, you still see like this continuation of the same alley you're in. When you look behind you, having kind of felt this suddenly, you can see the alley through which you just came through, but there's this weird shimmering quality to it.
Hey, Genie, did we just teleport, or what's going on here?
Are you asking the little guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, Genie.
That was his name. 100%.
Genie! Radomir says. Oh, so you don't know about this place then? You should have probably known more about it before you came here.
No, I think it's fine.
I did warn you. It's... How do I describe this? It's not in the world that you're accustomed to. It's on a different plane.
I told you it moves a lot, Isaac. It tends
I see.
to. Yes.
So it's not people packing up tents. It's
The entrance tends to move. That's why it's so hard to
it's more
find.
magical. Okay, well, as long as they have good stuff for sale, I suppose I don't care.
But like I said, everyone, try to be careful who you talk to and what you agree to. We are not necessarily playing by all the regular rules that we may have been up on the surface.
Sure. They should beware us too, though. We're not young adventurers anymore.
Tessian just pats you on the back. That's the spirit.